I'll just wait for people to come back on. Okay, looks like I got 2 people back on. Janelle, thank you for showing back in. Okay, I had a bad connection there, and hopefully we don't lose everyone that was just there. Hopefully everyone comes right back. So hopefully this is a little bit smoother. Okay, Patricia is back. Thank you for coming back. Okay, Patricia, did you have a question? Because it started to look like you had a question, but I didn't. Okay, back up to 4. That's not bad. Everyone who just showed up, thank you so much for coming. I apologize for the technical difficulties I was having earlier. I know it still might be a little bit laggy, but I am having a better connection now than I was just a minute ago. Yeah, I know, right, Janelle? Technology is something else. When it works, it's beautiful. So I know I started having some questions about conquering the world, ladies out there watching. So I'll just wait for someone to post another question up here, and we'll basically start over. You were talking about caulking wood windows. Okay. Alright, well, Patricia, if you have a question with the wood windows, you have multiple problems with them, okay? One problem with older wood windows is most of them have no insulation around the window whatsoever. Okay, they're put into that wall of that old house, and there's no insulation anywhere, okay? The other problem that you're going to see and have is each individual glass pane in that wood frame can be leaking air, okay? So there is a problem. It's saying it's running a little bit better, so I hope it's doing better for you guys. I'm going to cross my fingers and pray that it is. But Patricia, back to the windows. Each individual pane can leak. There is a special caulk. You can get this at Lowe's or Home Depot. In the caulk, alongside the rather painter's caulk and everything like that. Pleasing, to tell you the truth. It is just it's like a extra thick latex caulk, basically. It's got good weather resistant stuff, but it is made for holding those window panes in place. So if you have that, it'll look like rock hard. If you have an old house, and it used to be caulking, or what they call glazing around that window pane, but by now it's rock hard because it's like 50. The tip actually comes out square, and then has like a little blade that kind of comes around over the end, which is really nice because it's wide enough that you can put it, so here's your glass pane, okay? And then you can put the caulking tube right along here. Wait, let me do it over here, okay? Everything's backwards for me, everything's mirrored, so I'm doing everything backwards. You can lay it right in at a 45-degree angle and go, down and up it as you go around if you angle that tube in there just right. And then you don't have to worry about scraping or wiping off excess. The other thing about the windows, this kind of goes for almost any window, but so much more over on the wood ones, is on your trim. Okay, your outside trim and your inside trim. Okay, is check the caulking around the trim around the window, so that there's not air just wrapping or coming right around the frame in that window. So do that. Just use standard painter's caulk. Standard like Alex Plus or the Alex. The Alex Dynaflex is even nicer. It lasts a little longer. Has better mildew protection for it. The joints on both sides. Sometimes the trim is like stacked, and you might have like 3 or 4 joints. Any place there is a joint. Okay, and then do that on the inside and the outside. Now, if your window doesn't have any trim on the outside, let's say you have like my house. I got vinyl siding. Okay, and and a lot of times it actually goes into the window frame. Don't try to caulk that, okay? If you have the vinyl siding that actually goes into the window, there's channels in there for the water drainage and stuff like that. Don't touch that. If you want to caulk your window to help stop any air gaps from coming through, do it on the inside, okay? And on inside only. And that's if you have the vinyl siding on the outside and basically no trim, okay? You just caulk right there against the sheetrock to the... We got any more questions? Anything different? Any other winter related questions? Are y'all still out there? It says there's 3 watching. Okay, well, Patricia, well, you're very welcome, Patricia. Okay, Janelle, the questions that were posted in the event page, one of them had to do with caulking again. I believe it said, when do you know when to re-caulk? This is the part where I'm being straightforward and not a smartass. When it looks bad. It means that any sealant that was in the caulk is basically gone and the caulking is starting to dry out. Crack, etc., like that. Anytime you see that happening, it's a good time to cut it out and re-caulk. Which I know it's a sucky job to have to sit there and cut out the old caulk and redo it. But yeah, when it starts looking bad, when it starts getting like a lots amount of mildew on it, and especially if you start seeing cracks in it, that's definitely the time that it's just old and completely worn out and doing almost nothing whatsoever. Oh, installation in the attic. Installation in the attic. Okay, I'll get to the attic question in just a second. Let's finish it. What's the best way to learn how to use a drill? The best way to learn how to use a drill is just to use it. Again, not being a smartass, or not trying to be. And obviously don't do it on, like, if you have a fine woodworking project, don't start on that. If you have, maybe you have a deck or some kind of outdoor, structure or something like that you can kind of take apart and learn to drill. I honestly do need to get a drill basics video up. Okay, Jennifer, thanks for showing up. I'll get to that question in just a minute. Okay, on the drill, a couple of tips. If you're still looking for a drill, you haven't purchased one yet, and you're thinking, well, I want a, so I'll go over that real quick. So how do you know which drill to pick? Okay. Well, first of all, how often are you going to use it? For me to get her a drill for her little projects, I got her a corded drill. And some of you might be like, why, were you like cheap or something like that? Well, no, but the problem is that she'll go 6 months without using it. And that's or 4 months, okay? And that's why I got her a corded drill. Because I wanted it to have power when she needed it. And not having batteries locked up in a toolbox for 6 months at a time. That's the number one thing. Drill basics video, yes, Jill, and I'm going to write that note, okay? You ladies are going to help me figure out some of the videos that I'm lacking and get them out there so you guys can see them. Okay, so I'm taking notes while we're doing this, so this is good for me too. Back to the drill. Okay, now all the drills basically are going to have a keyless chuck. People are like, what's the chuck? Okay, the chuck is the thing at the end of the drill that holds the drill bit or the screwdriver bit or whatever. It's what holds the bit. Okay, and keyless means that the old ones that I remember if your dad used to have them, you put this this little wrench in there on the side, you crank it tight. Okay, so almost everything is keyless, and then that's an important thing with that is that chuck is so crappy that you're gonna fight it constantly. You're gonna be drilling a hole in something, and the drill bit's gonna fall right out. Okay, because it can't properly clamp onto it. Because it's cheap, okay, and that's the thing. That's another reason if you're going to very rarely use it. A corded drill, you can buy a corded drill for $60. You need to spend about twice that much. You're going to want to spend about $120 on a cordless drill that would actually be of decent quality, even if you don't use it very often. You don't want to fight it when you use it. That's the thing, is when you go super cheap, you fight the tool. and that defeats the purpose of having it. This is one of the most common misuse of the drill, is people will like try to like just, you know, put the drill bit in there or whatever, and they just start tightening it by hand, and then, you know, they're fighting the drill. The drill most drills will have what's called an electric brake. So when you let go of the trigger, it stops. But you don't want to use that to load it. You want to actually use the strength of the drill. So if you're going to change out drill bits or screwdriver bits or whatever, you know, if you have gears on it, you know, a lot of cordless drills will have like a 1 and a 2. Go to the lowest gear, the 1. If you don't have any gears, snug, so it's not falling out. And then hold on to the chuck real tight and use the drill to tighten it. You know, put it in a forward position and use the drill itself to actually clamp down the chuck. That is the proper way to load the chuck, okay? And if anyone has any more... Okay. And the next question, I think, was also from Patricia about installing insulation. That checking your attic for insulation, everyone's thinking, you know, the winter checklist or the fall checklist, however you want to call it, the fall or winter checklist. For your home, attic insulation is great. One to in front of me, so I forget exactly where it is, but it's about in the southwest Missouri area. It's different for every region that you live, depending on how cold it gets on a normal basis, okay? But around here, also the attic insulation is almost always fiberglass in this area, in the southwest Missouri, northwest Arkansas area. It's almost always fiberglass insulation, which is a good insulation, don't get me wrong. But you're going to want about 19 inches of it, okay? If you go to Lowe's or Home Depot, you can actually get these little sticks right there by the insulation rating next to the inches, okay? Like I said, I think it's around 19 is what we want in this area, which is, crap, I think it's like R45 or something like that. I'm mixing these numbers up a little bit, I'm sorry. I really should sound better than that. Alright, Christina is having difficulty watching. Well, I'm sorry, Christina, that it's not streaming real smooth for you. Alright, back to the installation. You can actually use that, and you can actually stick it in there in your attic, and then when you can see how many inches you actually have and measure, okay? And there also should be a chart that'll tell you, you know, your region, you know, and you'll see it, and it'll tell you what R rating you should have as a minimum. That's not a maximum rating, okay, ladies? That is a minimum, alright? Meaning you want to double that? Awesome. Okay, now we don't want it to go too crazy, but a real quick example, there was a guy, his house was built in the 90s, lived just outside of Battlefield. I went to his house, he was a friend of one of my customers I had for years. I went over there in the summertime, he said he's complaining about his utility bills, super high. He wanted to add some more attic vents, okay, right? So I got in there, started walking around up top of the roof and looking, and I was like, yeah, we could probably maybe add a little bit here, but that shouldn't be making that huge of a difference. Let's see what else is going on. I go into the attic. He has less than 4 inches of insulation, okay? Less than 4. And that's what happens when you have, in the 90s, you had like all the building rush, and you have stuff that's not being inspected. If it's outside of city limits, it's definitely not being inspected, or it's being brushed off. The inspector's just, okay, I'm just signing it off because I don't have time. Okay? Plus there's also, like, you know, money under the table if you want to get into the dirty, like 30 or almost 30. And he let me know, like, you know, because at the end of the summer, and he called me up, you know, later down the road and told me that his utility bills got cut in half. Okay? How to do it? Okay, that's blown in. Okay? Now you know how to check it and what to look for. How to add it is it gets blown in. And you can do it with 2 people, okay? So if one of you ladies get one of your friends, your neighbors, boyfriend or something like that, you know, you guys are single moms rock, so I'm not going to say husbands. I'm assuming that's what most of y'all are out here. Joy, thanks for joining us. Alright, so you can rent the machine from Lowe's. And if you buy a certain amount of insulation, the rental's free. They just get a deposit for it, okay? And I think Home Depot should do the same thing. And you are going to need, I mean, I guess you can throw this in the back of a minivan, but you really should have a person with a truck. And then you can figure out how much square footage you have. Okay, so basically just the square footage of that floor. Okay, so if it's a single-story house, what's your square footage? If it's a 2-story house, what's the square footage of the top floor? Alright, that's easy. Alright, and then also on that little chart thing, okay, you want to add how many inches, okay, how many square feet you have, and that'll tell you how many bundles of fiberglass insulation you need, okay? So they have a little calculator there, and you can get the person in the apartment to help you out with that, okay? Then you get this machine, which is, alright, the size of the machine. I'm trying to think how big, alright, it stands about 4 feet tall. It's about 3 feet by about 4 foot, okay? So it's a good size. So you have a pickup truck to move this thing is really, really, really helpful, okay? And once you get it there, it has a long tube. Okay, so the machine itself sits in the garage. Hopefully your attic ladder's in the garage, okay, because you really don't want this coming into your house. You need a person downstairs working the machine, and a person that goes upstairs, have them dressed from head to toe, okay? Gloves, long sleeves, masks. You can even get like one of those cheap painting suits, which is really good to use. You get one of those painting suits in the painting department for 10 bucks, you zip it up, and then you're covered, because the insulation is going everywhere. Make sure to get masks and glasses, and I'm not joking around with that. It's not one of those things where you have to. Michelle, thank you for joining us, and Janelle, I'll get right back to that. And I'm getting excited here because we have some people on here. Last time we had, well, basically just me and Janelle just hung out for an hour. Okay, so I hope this is actually coming across for you ladies that are watching. I hope that you guys are seeing this well. Okay. Alright, I hope I'm not over-explaining this. So the person downstairs basically cuts open the bundle's insulation and feeds it into the machine. The person upstairs blows it. And then that's it. That's really, the person upstairs obviously it needs to be more athletic than the one downstairs, because you don't want to, you have to step on all the ceiling joists, and you definitely don't want to step in between them and come through the ceiling, okay? And, okay, we don't want to cover up can lights, okay? So if you have can lights, you want to kind of blow around them. You don't want to bury can lights, and then your vents. Okay, you don't want to blow out your vents. So if your attic vents, not the ones up here on the roof, but the roof, you don't want to blow the insulation over those and cover them up. Okay, those are a couple of very important tips. Don't fall through the ceiling. Don't cover up can lights, and don't cover up vents. Okay. Whatever vents, wherever the air coming through, because if you block that up and the air can't flow through the attic, I don't care how much insulation you just put in there, in the summertime that thing's an oven. Okay, let's jump up to the next question, which is from Christina. I'm having difficulty, oh no, I'm sorry, you're gonna watch it later. Thanks for doing this. No, Jennifer, there it is. Jennifer, how do you fix the door to keep mice from coming in? Well, do you have holes that are as big as quarters? Most mice can actually fit through a hole, not necessarily the quarter, but like size of a silver dollar, and they can fit through a hole that big. And if your doors have holes that big in them, I don't know, it's kind of scary. It sounds like your door is like really out of square. Okay, I do have a video on my website. I'm not trying to double up on it and stuff like that. I also have an interior door installation video, which is an exterior door. I don't have that yet, installation video. But if you watch the interior door installation, you can kind of understand what goes into making a door fit right. And basically, doors can be very complicated because obviously they open and close, but they also have to, they have to close right, and they have to have enough room to be able to do that without hitting the jamb, but not too much so that the weather stripping can still catch. It's actually a very tedious project. And if the door, if the frame has gone in and out like this a little bit, and then you have gaps at the top or the bottom, I guess rodents could get in through that. I mean, if your door's doing that, or if it's doing this or this, where you're also getting big gaps, then the door needs to be reset. It needs to be pulled out. And that's not a cheap process. I'll be honest, as a guy who does that, it does cost a few bucks to do all that. So, in the meantime, if you're trying to do this on a zero budget, I generally do not recommend this. But if you've got gaps in there and your door's like way out of square and you can't get that fixed, get a bunch of weather stripping. Get that big foam weather stripping, the big fat stuff, and just start sticking it in the holes. But when weather changes, mice come in. I prefer the old-fashioned spring-loaded wooden traps. They've never failed me. Okay. Alright, they chew through the rubber at the bottom. Okay, geez, I've been talking forever. Jennifer, I'm sorry, I didn't see that. Okay. You can go to Lowe's or Home Depot and buy threshold seals for doors. Most of the time they're like in the hardware department right around there. And you kind of need to know what kind you have. A lot of exterior doors have ones that actually snap in there. There are two, let's say, notches or, you know, anyways, I'm not using the best word. And it just kind of snaps into place. Sometimes the original one's got a staple. Oh, I had to plug in. Sometimes the original ones have a staple in it or something like that. And, you know, so taking the door off the hinges is the easiest way to really get to it. Sometimes they're, like say here's the bottom of the door, and then the new one actually goes up around it like this and cups around it. And then you have like little screws that'll hold it in place. So you got to see that there's many different types of ones, but if that rubber's gone, you need to get a new one. So you need to take the door off the hinges, peel off the old one, put it back on the hinges, and take that down to your Lowe's or Home Depot and get them to match that up. Okay, my battery is plugged in. Okay. Let's go back up here. I'm different with the watch. Thank you for doing this. Michelle, hopefully, where's that strong enough to hold the weight of the tile? Okay, you're going to do granite tile for your countertop, and you want to know, is plywood strong enough? Sure. And a lot of people are going to say, oh, you have to have the cement board too, that's absolutely a must. Okay, here's the thing. Alright, well Jennifer, I'll get right back to your additional question. Alright, Michelle. You need to have a 3/4 inch plywood. Okay, if you want something to be sturdy enough, stiff enough, that's not going to move on the weight, it needs to be 3/4 inch plywood. And that's the way they used to do it, okay? If you had a tile countertop, it was just a 3/4 inch plywood, and then they tiled it, okay? Now a lot of people are saying you have to have that cement board. Cement board is of the the plywood. It doesn't add to it. If you were to screw on that 1/4 inch cement board on top of the 3/4 inch plywood, you're just making it taller. Now you're giving the tile or something really good to glue onto, but honestly, a clean new plywood, there's no problem with that either. Tile was glued straight to that for years and years. You know, that these new cement boards have only been out for 15 years, okay? And before that, they put them right on the wood, okay? So 3/4 inch plywood, okay? Janelle, I think I can see my slats. Janelle, what do you mean you can see the slats in your attic? Are you talking about the slats up by the, what they're holding the shingles in place? Is that what you're talking about, Janelle? Alright, Janelle, you and Michelle, you go ahead and blow that insulation. Alright, Jennifer, they chew through the rubber on the bottom. They're screwed on, but if you buy new ones, won't they just eat through it again? Well, it depends. I guess it depends on your mice and what they got going on here. So I guess it wouldn't be a bad idea. Well, by next weekend, we're going to be almost 80 degrees again. So get rid of your mice, okay? Set traps everywhere. Buy a dozen traps, okay? Put cheese or peanut butter in them, the little old-fashioned wood traps, and catch your little rodents first. It's always good to get rid of your infestation, whether it's insects or rodents or whatever, before you repair. Absolutely. That's my advice on that. Is I don't know of anything to put on there to keep them from wanting to chew through it if they really want through that bad. So get rid of them all. Okay, well looks like I got 6 people on here watching, which is amazing because that's 5 more than were watching last time. But girls, throw me some more questions. And I do hope that the quality is coming through pretty good on your end. I'm still showing a green stream health, which is a good stream health. It's not the yellow or the red. So I'm hoping that you guys are getting this good over here. Jennifer, awesome, thank you. I know that didn't seem so like whatever, but seriously, just website. For those of you who don't know, website is greatwhiteninja.com. And I'm going to keep adding to that, always adding to that. And David, all right, not a single mom that rocks, but David, let's see here. My dryer trunk, you still don't have water. Alright, David. I'm sorry, man, but I'm not totally understanding the question here. Your dryer drum keeps filling up with water. So your dryer's not, it's just like staying damp. Is it not drying the clothes at all? You said you've had, your vent's been changed completely, and you put a barrier down under the subfloor. I'm not sure what that has to do with the vent and the dryer. Alright, so David, help me out on that question there. And Janelle, since there's a buffer here, I'm trying to like work on both your guys' questions at the same time. I can see the sky when I'm in my attic, looking down. Okay, I feel like I'm stupid here, but you know, I guess I'm not, understanding that question still. If you're in the attic, but you can see the sky when you look down. So, all right, I'm just assuming you need more insulation. I mean, that's cool. And David, your question, okay. Well, let's just kind of hit some of the basics on this. If you've had your dryer vent line like from the dryer going out to the house, that's been changed out. You know that's good and clean and functional and new. And if it's going outside the house where it needs to go, it should not be going underneath the house. It's like the moisture barrier you put on the ground in the crawl space. I'm guessing. But if your dryer is staying wet and you have a new vent pipe from end to end, and it's not drying your clothes and the dryer is wet, then your dryer is clogged or shot or something. Yeah. Yes, it's on the ground. Okay. And Jennifer. Hey, Jennifer, thank you for all the questions. I really appreciate it. You girls just keep throwing them out there. Alright, your bamboo flooring is buckling. Okay. Alright, well, Jennifer, help me out here. Did you guys install the flooring yourself? Was it professionally installed? And I'm not knocking you by saying that. I'm saying that because hopefully if you installed it yourself, or if you were there when it was installed, then you knew maybe how it was installed, which I'm getting to is, was it nailed down in place or snapped together? I guess I should just have asked. And David says, brand new dryer as well. So you have a new dryer, a new vent line from the dryer out to the house. Oh, the single mom's rock? Oh no, David, you throw in some questions here too. This isn't closed. So the singles mom's rocks are just special guests. They're my special guests for this one here, but it's not closed. And thank you, Janelle, for saying that. Yeah. Okay. Alright, let's see here. Let's try to hit David's again. Jennifer, I just question. How long is that run? From the dryer to outside the house? And I'm assuming it goes outside the house, right? It's not like just hanging in the crawl space or something like that. So how long is that roughly? Do you know? Is it 15 feet, 25 feet? Is it more than 25 feet? Let's just try to go through everything I can think of. I'll just process of elimination for you there, for David. And Jennifer, you said it fits together like a puzzle. So that'd be your snap together, locking, laminate style, if you will, bamboo form. Whether it's solid bamboo or a laminated bamboo, we've got to snap together. Okay, and it's buckling. Okay, and it was supposed to be professional. Okay. Well, Jennifer, on your flooring, if it's floating, okay, so it's snapped together, so that would be like it's floating, okay? So literally, it's just sitting there like a giant rug, if you will. Would be obviously an installation error. Now, hopefully, you don't have moisture issues. If you have moisture issues, that could be a secondary thing. But there should have been a vapor barrier, that was put down before the flooring. So if you had moisture coming up through your crawl space, first of all, assuming that this is on the bottom floor of the house and you had a crawl space, or maybe you're on a walkout basement, But something should have been put down to stop the moisture from coming up. Okay, moisture is one problem that causes any wood floor to buckle, any wood type floor to buckle, the warps and the warrior stuff. But the other problem is a big installation error if it was installed too tightly. Okay, meaning if you see some of my installation videos on engineered wood, hardwood or laminate hardwoods or anything like that, or even the vinyl planks, I always tell everyone to read the instructions, but you want to leave about a 3/16 of an inch gap all the way around on all four sides. Let's just say your room's a rectangle or a square. So all four sides, as you put it down, there needs to be a gap. And that way, when the house expands and contracts, when the floor expands and contracts, due to temperature and humidity, it has that room to do so. If it's installed tight against the walls, not necessarily maybe all four, but maybe they got it on two of the walls installed too tightly. Well, something's expanding, and boom, it's buckling because it's trying to move just a little bit. But if it can't move, that's what happens. Okay. And J Girl, thanks for joining in. I'll get to your question in just a minute. Okay, we're doing pretty good here. I like this. Alright, David said, yeah, it's probably about 15 feet. Okay, 15 feet isn't a problem at all. When you get over 25 feet, you can have problems because it's just too far for trying to push the moisture out, and that can actually cause problems over time. Well, buddy, you know, I don't know. If you have a new dryer, excuse me, so I assume that's not clogged yet, and you've probably pulled it away. Guys, I'm sorry, I kind of ate a big dinner right before we started, so if I have a little, like, you know, I'm trying not to burp here. I need to get a sip of water here real quick. Your little vent pipe there that connects, okay? Your little flexible one. I assume you probably turned it on, and you're like, okay, it's blowing air, and it's blowing hot air, and everything's going good. So I assume you've already checked that. You've already pulled that apart and know that it's actually air exiting the dryer, okay? But if your drum's staying wet, and your clothes aren't getting dry, and your dryer is blowing hot air, and it's coming out of the dryer, then you've got something back wrong with the vent pipe. And if it's new, I will assume that there's not any lint in there, except for maybe just a speck of dust here or there. You've got an animal in there, okay? My best guess at this point, from everything you told me, because your dryer's new, your vent pipe's new, and it's only 15 feet, give or take, you got something that got up in there, and it's clogging it, okay? So if you have an electric blower, okay, obviously not get the air will be coming out outside the house and feel, okay? You might pop that thing off, and maybe you have a bird's nest or something that flies out too, okay? Use, not everyone has a dryer vent cleaning thing. I did a video on that, I got that on our website. But you really, hopefully shouldn't need that. Stick a leaf blower in there and shoot anything out that's in there. And I hope that fixes your problem. Clothes are drying. Okay, but maybe clothes are drying like super long, like takes twice as long to dry them. Because you said your drum's wet. Okay. So let's go on to J Girl. A piece of the wooden door frame that broke off. Can I just use wood glue to put it back on, or do you suggest replace the entire door frame? Your question here. So you have a piece of wood in your door frame that broke off. Oh, David, thanks for watching and subscribing. Yeah, but again, hopefully, I'm sorry, J Girl, I'm going right back to David. I'm assuming, you said your clothes are drying, but I'm assuming it's taking a lot longer to dry than they should. If you said it's still wet. So like I said, electric leaf blower, blow it out, and you know, if nothing comes out, at least you'll know if air's coming through it or not. Other than that, you might need a local repairman to come check that out. J Girl, where that wood piece that broke out, can you be more specific? Yeah, is that where the deadlock used to be? Did the door get kicked open, and then that broke off out of the door jamb? Is that what happened? Was this a kick-in problem? Had the pipes and stuff changed, you know. I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm just guessing that you've got something in that dryer vent pipe stuck in there, and that's That's why there's moisture in there. And like I said, you know, just try and blow it out. And J Girl, thank you for messaging back. Yes, I think so. So if we're talking about the deadbolt piece, okay. So you got the door frame here, and you're gonna have like the little notch for the door handle, and then you have the notch up here for the deadbolt. And the door gets kicked in, and I'll tell you real quick. I have a video on my door page. It says adding door security for under $2. It's actually I'll explain that in a minute, but it's a good video to watch. Okay, especially for all you single moms out there, you guys can do this easily. Okay, and it really adds a lot of protection for break-ins because. And I replaced a lot of doors and fixed a lot of door jambs because of kick-ins. And then I started doing this, what I'm going to explain in a minute, and it severely reduced the amount. Okay, I actually had failed attempts. Okay, what happens on a door is that door jamb is only 3/4 of an inch thick. Okay, about like the thickness of my hand here. Okay, and that's a problem because those strike plates, those metal strike plates, you get screwed in unless you have a special one that's been installed. It's like extra big and looks like it has giant screws on it. Okay, they're only screwed into that door jamb. So you only have a 3/4 inch piece of pine wood, not red oak, and then you have holes drilled in them. So when the latches go in, alright, it stops, someone goes to kick it, that's all it takes. It's a good strong kick. Okay? And it goes whoosh, and then it splits the wood out like this, like a, I don't know, I don't know, those little eighth of a moons, a quarter, I don't know, not the new moon. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? And it just whoosh, breaks it out. You got the whole wood breaks out, okay? Alright, so that's a big problem. How to help stop that from happening, here's your door jamb, and then behind it, which is much thicker, will be your 2x4 or 2x6 framing wood. So what you're doing with the 3-inch screws, you're going through the jamb and past it and then into the big frame, okay? And that's going to hold so much better. And that's why you can add like strong security per door for less than $2. So to go back to your question, J Girl, can you put that piece back, or do you have to place the whole jamb? Okay, installing a new door jamb is very expensive. Okay, so I get that. Okay, I'm reluctant to say yes because, you know, I don't want to have someone, a burglar, a thief, an ex-boyfriend, be encouraged to kick it again. But yeah, okay, you kind of can, and I've had to do this for people who couldn't afford it. So what I do is I take that broken piece of wood, take the strike plates off first, okay? So get all those screws out and the metal plates and get those out, okay? And then make sure hopefully that wood piece is, hopefully it's just like one piece, and you didn't break it off and you have like 2 broken pieces. If you're that bad, you really need to get a new door jamb. But hopefully it's just snapped off in one piece. Stick it back in place, make sure it fits good. If you got some pieces that are kind of keeping it from fitting the back in tight, like it was like made to fit there, and kind of like, you know, finagle those, shave them out, whatever you got to do, and then get some some screws, and then you're gonna want to pre-drill it. You got to pre-drill it, and then put a couple of screws in, holding it in. Okay, you want to pre-drill, or it's gonna crack. You're gonna be splitting the jamb. You're gonna make it worse. All right, so you're gonna pre-drill them. Put a few screws in so it's screwed and glued, okay? And then when you put the strike plates back, absolutely use at least a 3-inch screw, if not longer, okay? So that they're going past the jamb and into the wood frame. And then that will actually be, believe it or not, more secure than the door was the first time. Okay, so J Girl, I hope that helped. I hope that's what the question you were really wanting the answer for, right? Michelle, thank you, this is awesome. You're awesome, Michelle. Thanks for saying. And Jennifer, what was the name of that door video? I need added security. Okay, Jennifer. If I check it right now, I'm gonna blow my streaming. Okay. But you should be able to go to greatwhiteninja.com, and then around the home, sub-tab doors. And if somebody's checking and this is wrong, you tell me. And then underneath that it says adding door security. It's adding door security for like $2 to me or something like that. So you'll see the thumbnail. Okay, but like I said, if it's not there and someone's searching, let me know. But I'll mess up my buffer. I'll be buffering like crazy if I check right now. Which it looks like I hit like a little hiccup on the internet at the moment. So guys, go ahead, throw me another question. Hit me with something. Okay, J Girl, I'm glad I can help. And back to David's question. You know what? And David, if you're still on, you might not be on anymore. I was just thinking, because you're making it sound like there's a lot of moisture and water in the dryer, but everything seems to be working right. But these new dryers actually use water. They have a water line from the hot water. You know, you get a Y, it splits the hot water from the wash machine, and then you get a line that goes to the dryer, and that way it actually hits a mist while it's drying to add the humidity in there, so that it'll like do a wrinkle release. And I don't know, maybe that's something. Maybe that's something that's messing up. I don't know. I'm really trying to help there, David, if you're still on. And Jennifer says you should do a home security. Do I for single moms? Yes, Jennifer, I probably should. Now I have the adding security for $2, which was good for single moms because $2, right? And I guess the other big one that Janelle has mentioned that seems to come up a lot is changing door locks. And getting your doors rekeyed and stuff like that can be almost as costly as buying new ones. If you have a key service come out to rekey your locks, you know, you're probably, I don't know, talking like at least $10 per cylinder. And cylinder, which is anything that takes a key. So if you get a deadbolt, that's one, and you have the handset, that's another one, so that's two on that door. Okay, if you take them to Lowe's, last time I checked, and then you would have to actually take them apart and take them to Lowe's, and your doors wouldn't be locked while you're doing this. So obviously you have to have someone there at the house that you would trust. And they have it like for $6 a cylinder, or at least they used to. And you can get them rekeyed for like $6 a cylinder, which is cheaper than buying, you know, new lock sets and deadbolts, because, you know, they're going to cost you about $15, $12 to $15 for inexpensive but not crappy. You know, your quick set, your basic quick set is going to. Now changing them out is really not that hard. Okay. Now if your stuff you think, oh well, my doorknobs are pretty worn out anyways, and they kind of feel like and doorknobs absolutely wear out. Okay. They have a little latch that goes in and out. Okay, I'm not trying to be like weird. So you have the little latch that goes in and out of the door, and you have your doorknob here, and there's a little half moon shaped piece in there that catches the latch, and when you turn the knob, it pushes the latch back, or pulls it back, and it absolutely wears out because it grinds on itself every time you wiggle the handle. Okay, so if you feel like your doorknobs are worn out, just replace them all. And while you're at Lowe's or Home, well, at least they used to do this. It's been a while since I've done this, but if you have them rekeyed while you're buying them, it's free. So it means sometimes if you got the quick sets or the other ones, the Schlades, and they'll have the matching numbers on the back, and you get rekey them for free when you buy them. Okay, not like you bring an old one in, but if you're buying them that day, they'll rekey them and make them all match for you. So that part is nice. That's normally a free service. But changing them out, you can change out a doorknob for 4 screws. Okay, you have 2 screws on the latch. Unscrew those out, and then on the handle on the inside, there's 2 screws. Undo those. The door handle literally just slides out from itself, because you have the half moon thing, and I'm using the quick set. It is the most common one out there, and the most common one I've installed. So you have the half moon latch piece that goes inside one handle and out the other. Okay, right? So one piece will have it, the other piece will just be hollow, and then you can slide the latch out of the door, and that's it. Putting the new one in, put the new latch in the door, 2 screws for the latch, put them back in, and the door handle. You got the piece with the little latch. That's it. That's it. Now, if you do it and you turn the doorknob, and say you turn it and it pulls the latch in, but you let go, it doesn't do anything. And the latch is like stuck, and you're like, oh crap, the door doesn't work now. Okay, that's an alignment issue. If the doorknob, because the hole is a little bit bigger than the doorknob, you know, needs. Okay, it's got a little bit of room to move around. And say the doorknob kind of fell down like this, and now you're not parallel, you're not square there. Okay. You know, say the latch goes like this and the doorknob kind of fell down like that. That's what's causing it, okay, because the alignment's off. So you really got to make sure that doorknob is centered at least up and down wise. This way, it's shouldn't matter too much. It should fit right in, but it can drop, or maybe you're pushing up when you screwed it in. But if that's any vid on fixing dishwashers, I have to take the bottom plate off. I don't know what type of screwdriver takes that piece off the very bottom. Okay, David, dishwashers. No, I don't. I have a one talking about like what things dish detergent, which will really take off the calcium lime scale, etc., and it's much stronger than the Jet Dry. Okay, just throwing that out there. But if you need to work on the dishwasher, you're talking about the bottom plate. Are you talking about the bottom plate on the outside, on the very bottom that touches the floor, or are you talking about like the plate on the inside? Because a lot of dishwashers have a plate on the inside that you can take out. And as far as what screws that is, that's different for every single brand. As far as the plate on the front, on the outside that touches the floor, most of the time it's a 1/4" hex with a straight slot. So you could use either a straight screwdriver or a 1/4" hex bit. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, the bottom on the inside. Okay, well David, that is different for every single brand. And I have done that on my Samsung. I have pulled that out because where the water goes in, it's gotten clogged because either a glass broke and I had to get that out of there, or I had a bunch of like lemon seeds. You know, my wife loves lemons, and I don't know how they got in there because she's actually really good about not dropping like the lemon wedges in there. Well, mine was a Torx. You know, mine was a Torx. Mine was a T15. But I did take that plate out, and I saw where the water was draining. I got that broken glass out that one time, and the lemon seeds another time, and cleaned that all out where the water goes through. But each dishwasher is designed differently, and that would be a hard video to do because of that right there. Each dishwasher is different on that part, okay, and very much different, brand by brand. So, I mean, I'd have to be basically a appliance repair specialist to be able to show you guys, you know, all those different repair methods. Okay, and it says we're down to 2 people watching, so I'm kind of guessing that's you, David. And probably Janelle is hanging out there because she feels that she needs to. I mean, I guess probably, I'm sure. Alright, so David, you're still there. Well, you're welcome, man. I wish I could help you more with the dishwasher. Actually, I don't feel like I helped you very much with the dryer, but maybe I gave you a little bit of direction on that. And Janelle is still here. So David and Janelle. Alright, so Janelle, we're out of Single Moms Who Rock. But I'm a lot happier about, you know, even though I would have loved to have a couple more on there, I'm very happy. Your girls kept me pretty busy this time, at least for the hour, because we're at 8 o'clock. So they kept me pretty busy. I wasn't sitting there twiddling my thumbs. I have a question from one that was having troubles with the video. Okay, Janelle, what is it? Shoot. Do you know her question? Or did she ask the question and I forgot to get to it? Well, Jennifer, thank you so much. I would love you to share my channel with your friends. And Jennifer, are you one of the Single Moms that Rock, or are you one of my? Turn off my water heater so that I can save money. We rarely use hot water, like maybe every other day. Okay. All right, Janelle. All right, you can shoot this to Crystal. Anyone else out here listening? Okay, that's a bad thing to do. That's not something you want to do. All right, now I'm not going to ask why Crystal or anyone else living in her house, if she's a single mom that rocks, so that means that she has some kids. Don't, you know, you can go a couple days with no one taking a shower, no one using hot water for a dishwasher, no one using warm water to wash up dishes, how you can actually go a couple days, we said every other day. Oh, Jennifer Gossett, you are a single mom that rocks. Okay, well that's awesome. Thanks for showing. Well, Jennifer, that's awesome. You keep rocking that. And feel free, if you have a project and you can't seem to find a video, feel free to send me an email and say, Nathan, I couldn't find a video of yours. You know, how do I do this? Jennifer, you go ahead and feel free just to email me, nathancox1978 @gmail.com. Okay? It's you can also hit the contact thing on the website. You can just go to greatwhiteninja.com and hit the contact. Okay. Sorry, Janelle, I'm kind of bouncing around. The water heater thing. Yeah, it kind of boggles me how the she only uses it every other day. But no. Water heaters in America, okay, are big tanks, okay? Most, very average one is a 40-gallon tank, okay? It's a very average one to have. That's 40 gallons of water. If I want to save some utility bill, whether it's electric or gas, I just want to shut it off. And then let it sit for a day. And then I'm like, okay, well then you got a couple problems. One, now that thing is cooled off and you've gone, let's say 36 hours. And now you want hot water. Well, it's going to take like, 4 hours to heat up, okay? So that's one problem, is you're not getting the hot water back on instantly. Other problem is it's using a ton of energy, whether it's gas or electric, to heat itself back up from a cold, okay? So all that energy you thought you were saving because you shut it down, in that process to heat it back up, you're not saving anything. For it to fire up every once in a while to keep that temperature, doing things like that, I've told this to people before, and you gotta be careful. Do not, all right, do not spend trying to find some place to cut back that just save you a couple cents here or there. So you're doing things that you're trying to mess with things. Water heater, let it run. You want to save a little bit of money? Take quicker showers. Turn the temperature of the water heater down a little bit so it doesn't have to fire so hot. Okay? Now you got to balance that, because if you run out of, when you take a shower, you don't just turn on the hot water, you turn on the hot water and the cold water. Okay? So the hotter your water heater is, the less hot water you actually turn on. Put my hands in front of the camera. So if your hot water is like really hot, you just turn on the hot water for your shower just a little bit, and then it's like mostly cold. But if you turn the temperature down too much on the hot water heater, this is where you got to balance it. You got to find the right spot. Is now you got to turn on a bunch of hot water, have like hot, very hot, settings on that, and then just kind of maybe, see if it's on very hot, maybe notch it back down just to normal hot, and make sure that that's still giving you good hot water for your showers. But just don't try to mess with stuff like that. Okay, I don't know, Jennifer, that boxed it in really weird. Okay, I'm the victor. Okay, putting blankets on your hot water heater is a bad idea. Okay, blankets are flammable. Hot water gets hot. Okay, and if it's a gas water heater, you have a vent pipe, and that gets very hot. All right, they do now. Maybe you meant there is an insulated water tank. A water heater, water tank blanket, okay, and it's made for a water heater so that it's not flammable and stuff like that. Janelle, okay, go ahead, shoot, Janelle. I told you I'd stick on to 8:30, maximum. People are still asking questions. Jennifer, you're very, very welcome. But yeah, they do make. I forgot about that. They do make a little insulated water heater blanket. Okay. On the Victor, I was hoping that's what you were saying, but you know, sometimes people throw out weird suggestions, and they're very dangerous. So, okay, cool. Then we're on the same page. Okay, Janelle's typing her question. Well, we got a fourth person on here. Guys, if you just showed up, thanks for joining this live question and answer. I'm going to hang out here for a little bit longer. We're towards the end of the program. But feel free to jump in and say hi and ask a question, something about your home. You know, you have questions, projects, maintenance. And while I'm waiting for a question, the biggest thing right now I think everyone's thinking, I didn't go over it all the way, is your fall checklist. Or your winter checklist. Some people call them winter checklists. I would call them a fall checklist. Even though it's for winter, you do them in the fall, okay? And obviously you gotta do that after the leaves fall, but they need to be clean. Gutters need to be clean because a good working gutter is great. It sheds the water away from your house, but a clogged gutter does a lot of damage because the water overflows the gutter and it goes into the eave of the roof line, into your soffit, your fascia boards, does a lot of damage. So an improperly working gutters, they can do very much damage. Okay. Okay, I'm still waiting for a couple questions. Another thing to do for your fall checklist, if you have a crawl space in your home, you need to make sure the crawl space vents are closed and the crawl space access is closed. They have to be all shut down tight. Now some people are like, I don't even know, or the foundation wall. You'll have these little vents. Maybe they'll be right above it. Sometimes they're in it. But they're just louvered vents, You should know if you have a crawl space or not. You just walk around and they just close. They just close by hand, like one at a time. And you can pop them closed. You don't want that cold air rushing underneath your house and freezing your pipes, okay? Plus it also just makes your house colder. Maybe your pipes never froze, maybe the way your house is facing, that didn't happen, but it definitely adds the cold to your house. People are asking, well, why are those things in the first place? Well, if you have a crawl space, you need to air it out in the warm months. So in the spring and the summer, where it's very humid and warm, you open those vents so that humidity can get out from underneath your home. That's why they're there in the first place. You're sealed tight for the winter, obviously. Okay, make sure your weather stripping in your doors are good, and touching the doors. I do have a video on that. Make sure your windows are closing properly, and if you need to recaulk them, do that. And your attic insulation, which I already talked about in the first part of this video extensively, is just make sure that you have the proper amount of insulation for the area that you live in the country. Alright, and Janelle hit me with a question. Something I can buy from a freezer. There's a small crack on the bottom left. I can feel cold air coming through. God for duct tape. Okay, seriously. But, is there something I can buy for your freezer? Okay, so I'm assuming your freezer fridge is a little older. Seals are getting very stiff. And it's cracked and broken. Okay, I got that. You hate the fact the cold air is blown out, because first of all, that means that your freezer is going to run more. Second of all, come wintertime, that means you're adding cold air to the house that's already cold and you're trying to heat up. Okay, totally get that. I do that because I used to work in an apartment complex many years ago and provide all the fridges there. And you could buy, if you buy a factory seal, the one that's actually supposed to be for that fridge, that's actually manufactured by the manufacturer, or supposedly manufactured by the manufacturer, they're very expensive. Okay, like the freezer door thing, it would cost like probably over $100 to get a new seal that's actually like the original. Now if you're up for buying that, cool. You can yank the whole seal off, replace it with the factory one. Now you can get this online. We had this company that had like appliance repair stuff, but I'm pretty sure you can just hit this on Amazon, pretty sure. And you can buy generic universal freezer, refrigerator, door seals. And they're a pain in the butt to put on. And they don't work 100%. They fit back a utility blade. And you're going to miter your own edges, and you're going to stick them together, and there's a glue that comes with it, you got to put it up, and then they I forget the kind of groove that goes in and stuff. It's been so long since I used these things. But I do know that half the time we did them, it didn't seal real good. Better than the broken seal. You know, we had the whole bottom, you know, the seal was broken and dangling and wasn't doing anything. Yes, it was better than that, but it wasn't right. Half the time we did our best, but that's just the way they came out. So I don't like, it's between a rock and a hard place, you know. Either you spend a ton of money for the factory one, and then you're like, well, how much longer is this thing going to last anyways? Why do I want to spend over $100 for a new seal? Or you can buy the generic one and hope that it's better than the one you've already got and not making the problem even worse or not any better. And you spent that time and money to do that. You got duct tape. If you go into like Lowe's or Home Depot and you go into the plumbing department where they actually have the air conditioner supplies and the duct work, they'll actually have HVAC duct tape, like actual true duct tape. And it's actually stronger and stickier than the normal duct tape. But there's also another tape that they use that's heat rated, and it's actually a foil tape. It's an aluminum foil tape, okay? And that would probably fix your problem better than standard, you know, just duct tape that you bought at Walmart, okay? And I'm just saying, throwing it at Walmart, not saying that you're bad that you bought it at Walmart. They have a lot of awesome looking duct tapes, but your little duck with the little quacky duck on them, they're not as good as the other ones. And the aluminum foil tape is that's probably better. Okay, it's 8:20, guys, and I told Janelle I'd be on here to the maximum of 8:30, so we got 10 minutes left, and I'm willing. We got 4 people watching, it says, so throw me a question. I got time for a question, maybe 2 left. Feel brave? Brave enough to ask a question? Okay, I'm the victor. How often do you think a house should be painted? Ooh, okay, well that's a kind of a complicated question. It depends on where you live in the country. You know, the further north you live, the more the weather hits that paint, you know. Now we're in the Southwest Missouri area, and that depends on the quality of the paint, but yeah, every 15 years would be like kind of a max range of, you know, before it really turns to crap. Every north and you got harder winters, more snow, more ice, you know, more humidity in the summer, and you might back it down a little bit. Using a good quality exterior paint obviously is a good thing when you repaint it. Getting it prepped properly is really important. Cleaning that house, okay? When I go paint a house and do an exterior, I clean it, okay? So I spray the side of the house down with a mixture of outdoor bleach and a TSP substitute. Now TSP stands for trisodium phosphate, and you can get that in the solvent department right there at Lowe's or Home Depot. It's next to the paint thinners, and it's in a cardboard box. But you don't want that one there because that one will react to the bleach. There is a TSP substitute. Actually says that TSP substitute. It'll be in a quart-sized bottle. So I mix that in a bucket. You know, I'll throw in like in a 5-gallon bucket, depending on how bad the house is, how much mold and mildew it is. You know, I'll probably mix that. Sometimes the exterior bleach comes like in a 1.5-gallon jug too, and I'll put that into like 8 gallons of water. I'll have like 2 5-gallon buckets, but I don't obviously fill it where it's overflowing. So it's about 8 gallons of water, well, mixed in with that quart of TSP substitute and that 1 to 1.5 gallons of outdoor bleach. And I'll spray that on the house. I have an applicator pump. If you don't have an applicator pump, well, you can take a scrub brush on and have a painter pole, you can put it on there, or maybe you can find other ways to get it on there. Okay, you gotta clean that. Get that stuff clean. Okay, the bleach takes care of the mildew and any of the funguses on it, and the TSP substitute helps take care of such paint. Okay. A proper primer, not a paint with a primer plus paint. That's not a real primer. Okay, that is only a stain blocker. It's only half of a primer. So if you buy paint and use it's like paint plus primer, remember it's always only half. Okay, a traditional standalone primer has two things: a stain blocker and adhesives. Okay, which help it to stick to whatever you're applying it to, and to help the new paint to stick to it. Okay. That's one of the most important things to a primer. And if your paint is chalky and this and that, or doing other things, it needs a traditional primer coat. And then it needs a good quality couple coats of paint on top of that. And then you're going to be good for looking good after a decade. And I'm the Victor. Are you Victoria? Well, good. I'm the Victor. Because it is inferior to doing it separately. But if you have a job that just has some staining and it's not bad, it definitely saves you some time. And the paint plus primer is better than just paint, but it's definitely not the same as doing traditional primer and then your quality paint. And we got a third person on. Guys, we're down to the last 5 minutes, and this was pretty successful. Janelle, thank you for setting this up with the girls, and we'll do another one of these. I know we got Thanksgiving and stuff coming up, so I don't know if whatever time frame you think is good. If you want to try another one in 2 weeks or so, I'm up for doing this again and trying to spring to life some new questions. Catch some of the ladies who couldn't make it tonight. They want to ask questions, and they have doing the live really helps, because when Janelle said hi Victoria, I thought, man, I don't know, maybe, but okay, Victor, I was kind of thinking that in the first place. And not super busy, but busy. It definitely kept me busy the whole time. So definitely a success. Definitely a success. And hopefully I didn't over-explain that. Janelle, what do you think? You were here the whole time. I try to explain it enough so that people understand the ins and the outs and what to do and what not to do. But I try to balance that, not go too far. What do you think? Cut it back a little bit, just right. Probably not, need more information. And whoever else is on there who decided to show in here, throw a question up. So don't be shy. Hit that chat bar and throw me a question. Janelle said, I'm so glad we had a great night. I think you did well with all the questions. Well, thank you, Janelle. And hopefully, after we got going, the feed kind of smoothed out and you weren't buffering too much. How was the buffering, Janelle? Oh, I'm the Victor. Okay, you must be a subscriber then, man. Well, thanks for showing up tonight. And thanks for, watching my other videos. Do you still use your do-it-yourself laundry detergent? Absolutely. I do. And I'm about to, next weekend I gotta make another batch. It lasts me about 2 months, I think. People detergents. And, my son's 13 now in football. And, my daughter's also 13 because they're twins. Oh, we got 5 people now. Geez, we're getting more people. And I'm getting ready to shut off here. Maybe I'll hang out for an extra couple minutes. You guys just showing up here, throw some questions out at me. I'll hang out for a few more minutes. But yeah, my laundry detergent, my do-it-self, and I haven't changed the recipe. It's still the same recipe I had in my original video. I did an updated video, which I talked about, a lot of your front-loader dishwashers, your front-loading wash machines stinking, and how it really helps, because I end up running out, and I just ran and grabbed just a bottle of Gain to use for a week until next weekend I made a new batch, and my stinky clothes, and I was using so much Gain, and it still wasn't taking all the odor out. I didn't know what to do. But the baking soda absorbs the odors. I can actually, because I'm one a lot of times, I do a decent amount of laundry to help out. So my wife, it sounds weird. I'm not afraid to smell my son's socks after I've cleaned them. Okay, they don't stink. I'm sitting there folding them, and I'm watching a movie because I have a big load of laundry here I'm folding, and there's no stink. Okay, That's huge. Alright, Janelle, buffering wasn't as bad after a while, but would still do it occasionally. Well, I wish my internet was faster. I've got the fastest internet in my area here, but my upload speed is still, you know, actually with the cable internet upload that my neighbors have, the upload speed's a little bit faster, but it's very unreliable. Like savviness and all, so I try to help them because the internet goes down a lot, and theirs is very unreliable, or I would just, I would tag off of them, so I have a, you know, a Wi-Fi extender. Jennifer, yes, baking soda is safe to use in washers, including the new HE high efficiency, air quotes, front loaders. I have a do-it-yourself laundry detergent video. Where is it? I'm pretty sure if you go to my website, greatwhiteninja.com, and go to the main around the home tab, I'm pretty sure that's where the laundry detergent video is. And yes, I've been using that in my Samsung front loader wash machine. I want the liquid, and it doesn't, oh, you know, blah blah blah. I don't know. I mean, if you got to think about it, it is a dry powder detergent, but I love it because it keeps the machine fresher and it knocks out those smells from those teenage kids. Okay. And it is, if you watch the video, you will see there's a lot of baking soda in that recipe. So yeah, and it's fine. It's great. It's great. Owens, no, I did. I even told internet, no, I said, son, you gotta get off. You know, he's just watching a little Netflix, and I've got a very fast download speed. You know, so it's the upload, which is the issue. You know, I've only got 2 megabits per second upload, which is pretty fast for DSL. That's where you know I get. Either out here in Ozark we have good DSL, or at least through my neighbor's experience, crappy cable internet. Okay, which is very unreliable. They have a faster upload speed, but the reliability is so bad. We would have actually crashed in the middle of this thing. So I'm glad it didn't do too bad on the buffering. And on the Victor, you make your own fabric softener because I like the sense of fabric softener. Make it with citric acid and then add lavender essential oils to fabric softener from the dispenser. You know, the dispenser thing for the washing machine where you put the fabric softener, we put a little bit of vinegar in there. Okay, not like to the full level that you can put the fabric softener, but I don't know, maybe less, maybe 1/8 of a cup of just your white vinegar, and it actually helps with the softness of the clothes. And if there's any odors left over that are like really rough odors, it helps finish that off. It helps finish the odor off, and it makes, yeah, we should do that. And it seems to be doing a good job. And you have CenturyLink for you, blood, you know, that's what I've got. And I've got the 25 meg download, and that gives you a 2 megabit upload. And you know, everyone has complaints about their internet here and there, but have so they're on the cable, so they have CenturyLink. No. Oh, you have CenturyLink. Wait, no, I have CenturyLink. Okay, so they're on Suddenlink. Okay, Suddenlink, which is the cable. And like I said, oh, it's so unreliable. They're crashing so often. Okay, guys, it's just past 8:30, but I will hang on here for just a couple more minutes. If anyone else has one last good question, I'll take one last good question, if anyone's got one. This was a good success. I didn't stop the whole hour and a half. I rarely ever stopped. And I wish I could verify that. I think that's where my do-it-yourself laundry detergent video is on the main around the home tab. Well, I'm the Victor. That's what I should be having right now. I'd be like streaming like a madman. Have 10 to 15 megabits upload. Woo! I would love that. I upload a lot of stuff, obviously. I'm always putting videos up. I was doing some football videos recently here for my son and whatnots. 20-minute video, 4 hours to upload. Okay, I just set that thing for overnight. You know, just crazy. So yeah, I would love to have more than the 2 megabits. 10 to 15, woo. You know, I mean, I don't know what I would do with 250, but the 75 and then 15, wow. Just blows my mind. I would love that. No new questions. It's 8:35. So I'm gonna, oh, we got a fourth person. There's another person they pop in. Well, if you guys just showed up, I'm sorry, but I'm kind of ending the night. I need to call it a ball. But I'm gonna do this again. And Janelle, I would love to coordinate with the Single Moms Rock and try to figure out a new date to do it again, because I think this was good. I think there's a lot of single moms out there that need a lot of help with their home. And they need to get sometimes creative with that help because of budget. Single Moms Rock. So I will create a new event probably a few weeks out and do this again.